Eva-Lotta, you just published a book, which I love, which is called Notes from Yoga Teacher Training. You're a designer, you're a traveler, and a sketchnoter, but also a yogini. Can you tell us more about you?
Yes, thank you for having me. Well, as you said, by trade, I'm a designer. I'm a graphic designer and a UX designer, but I also love yoga. I discovered yoga for me about 5 or 6 years ago, I would say now.
Mm-hmm.
And while we were traveling in India, I met my teacher in Rishikesh. His name is Surinder Singh, and he teaches Hatha Yoga, and he is a wonderful teacher. On our first journey, we only stayed in Rishikesh for about 10 days, and we did yoga with Surinder every day. And from the moment I started going to his classes, it was pretty clear to me that I would want to go back to study with him for longer. Yeah. So a year later, I actually signed up for a teacher training course to study with Surinder for a month, and then actually stayed 2 more months and just taking his classes and study more.
Yeah, so everything began with your world trip.
Yeah, I mean, I did yoga before. I lived in London before, and I tried out lots of different styles of yoga and lots of different types of classes because it was quite confusing in the beginning, because there are so many styles and every teacher is different, and yoga can be from super gentle to super fitness style in the West. So I tried out a lot, and when I found my teacher in India, I was like, yes, actually this type of yoga with a message behind it, and also with the way of practicing, and the breath is the center of everything, basically. I was like, yes, I want to learn more of this. This is what suits me.
Yeah.
And that happened on our world trip.
And that was a 1 month yoga training?
Yes, when I went back to Rishikesh for the second time, I did a month-long yoga teacher training. So it is like equivalent to a 200-hour Yoga Alliance teacher training.
Right. I heard you say in a video that sketch note taking is about relaxing and getting into the flow. So is sketchnoting especially appropriate to yoga?
Well, yes. I mean, it is I think it is appropriate for capturing notes on yoga, and it also has a lot of parallels to yoga. So especially when I was doing the teacher training course, there is kind of a humongous amount of information streaming your way. And I need to take notes to remember all these things.
Yeah.
One of the things, the central element, especially when you study asana, is that the body is the center, and the positioning of the body and the relationship of the limbs in each of the posture. And it is much more efficient to express that with a little sketch and then just add some words to explain the details. If I had to write everything down just in language, it would become very confusing. So sketch notes were a great way of actually showing the position of the body and then using language to kind of point at the little details and put additional annotations on it. So that's why I think sketch notes are super appropriate to capture individual yoga poses, but also whole yoga sequences if I want to remember a whole flow. And the second aspect is that, like with doing yoga, taking visual notes is a practice. So you are not great from the beginning, it's like, it's not everything works out from the beginning. It's like taking little steps and practicing. And it's also not about striking a beautiful pose or making the most beautiful drawing, but doing it as well as you can and
improving all the time.
And also it's there for a purpose. If it expresses what you wanted to explain, then it's good enough.
Yeah.
So there are also just some philosophical parallels, I think, between sketching and doing yoga.
Yeah.
Being gentle to yourself, it's
Yeah.
it's a good thing in life in general.
Do you believe if we change our yoga note taking, or even if we begin to take notes for yoga, it could help to improve our asanas or practice in general?
I think by taking notes and by breaking down the different asanas in their detail, sketching them out can help us to pay more attention to these details. Because we're not just reading about it or hearing about it, but we are also actively trying to draw it and think about it in a deeper way. So I think from that aspect, it can help sharpen our awareness. And also from a practical point of view, is I like sketching yoga sequences because I practice on my own a lot back at home, when I'm at home alone or when I'm traveling, and I don't always have a teacher to guide me. So I make myself little cheat sheets of sequences that I can just have next to the mat and glance at them when I forget where I am in my sequence. So that is actually very handy.
Yeah, that's what Erika Jago, she talks about asana glyph. Do you know her?
No, I don't know her.
No. She wrote with Elena Brower the Heart of Attention book, which is a very beautiful yoga book. And she talks about asana glyphs. I think it's a very nice name for that, for just drawing the postures and what to do and preparing sequences.
Yeah, but by drawing so many sequences during the teacher training, I kind of settled on my own way of kind of doing these very simple stick figures. And I'm just, and I made a little book that explains how to draw these little stick figures and how to put together different sequences. And I'm actually just wrapping it up, like I'm just finishing the layout. So it's probably going to be out very soon.
Oh, great. Good news. So in your book, pranayama, asanas, anatomy, physiology of the body are described, and it's so easy to understand thanks to your drawings. There are many tips how to take asanas correctly, where to put your attention, how to breathe. Is it why you decided to share your notes with this book, which is the first yoga sketchnote book I've seen?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I have to say all the wonderful information in there and all the detail and all the beautiful content is actually thanks to my teachers, because that is what they taught me, and it's basically just channeled through my brain and my hand into these notes. So I'm very thankful to my wonderful teachers. But first and foremost, I did these notes just for myself. During the course, I wanted to remember the things that I learned, and I had used sketch notes in many other occasions for design conferences and for my work, and so I thought, well, the format has worked for me so far, I'll use it for this as well. And my fellow teacher trainees, the other people in the course, they kept coming up to me and saying, like, can I take a picture of your notes? Can I have a copy of your notes? They're really good. They're much better than mine. And I was like, yeah, well, sure, if you want to. So at the end of the course, I scanned all the notes and sent each of them a PDF, so they would have the notes. And then I thought, well, actually, if they like it, maybe there are other people out there who could benefit from these notes as well. So what started just as my personal record, I just thought, well, I'll just make a little book out of it, and whoever's interested, maybe other people are interested as well, I'll just put it out there, and then people can have it if they like.
That's really great. Both parts of the brain are working together while you're doing sketch notes and yoga.
Yes. Yeah.
That's what you call visual thinkers. That's it. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's the beautiful thing that I like about sketch notes in general. It's they they have both components in there, the visual and the verbal. So you can usually remember things better when they're both visualized and verbalized. But also it brings a little bit of the warmth and personality as well, because they are little images, and sometimes they are maybe a little bit quirky or a little bit cute or a little bit weird, because it's not always in proportion, but they have little imperfections, and this brings kind of the human side to it as well. So that's what I like about it as well.
It's your personality in it.
Yes, I can't stop myself from it's impossible to do it without personality. Yeah.
I really think this book is really useful to many yogi, for students, for teachers too, and I'm sure it would be a great inspiration. So it can be ordered on your website, that's right, which is sketchnotesbook.com.
That is true.
Yeah, and also on Amazon.
Yes.
Yeah. And on your website, you draw a dedication on your books till December 1st. Is that right?
Yes, I actually, you can choose a pose that you like, and I'll draw it for you into the book. And I'll be back. I'm actually, the reason why I'm only doing it until the beginning of December is because I'm actually going back to India to study more with my teacher.
Wow.
So I'll be away for a couple of months, but I'll be back next year in March, or in February, March, and then I'm going to dedicate more books. So either order it before the end of next week, or when I'm back next year.
Okay, that's really great to go back there.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Eva-Lotta, for talking about your book, which I hope will soon be in the pocket or in the bag of many yogi all around the world. Who knows? That would be great.
Thank you for having me, Anneliese.
It's a great inspiration. Thank you so much for this book. And thank you so much for this moment.
Merci.
Merci à toi.